Did you think it was weird when Robyn put you, Dad, in baby pictures on family pictures with her kids when he was present? It seemed kind of creepy and not respectful. I think that's actually a great question. So it might not. I think it was actually incredible because it wasn't necessarily just a gift to my dad. It was also a gift to Robyn's kids with her first husband. So the relationship, and I'm not going to go into the relationship that Robyn's kids have with their birth father, because it's honestly none of my business, you know.
Hey friends, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Tuesday, February 13th, 2024. I hope all of you are having a wonderful day. Over the weekend, Mykelti Padron went live on her Patreon. And this was just a live stream. She wasn't watching a show. She was truthfully just answering questions from her patrons. And she shared some information about the show that I thought were interesting to prove to you how fake things are. But a question was asked about that infamous photo, the photo that Robyn recreated, where she took a photograph of her children that was with her stepfather, and then a photograph of Cody he took with Christine and her kids, and transposed the pictures together, effectively erasing the father, Preston, from the picture. Even though Preston wasn't the one holding the kids, Preston was erased by recreating a photograph of the kids with Cody as babies. And this decision by Robyn was met with a lot of backlash when it happened. People felt like she was trying to rewrite history, that she was trying to create a new narrative, that she was doing something that just seemed really disrespectful to the biological father. This was done not long after Cody adopted the kids. And while I can understand her wanting to feel like, Cody wanting to feel like he had those kids as babies, she'll never, and she would have never been able to have that. It would have been impossible. So naturally, when this was done, a lot of people felt like Robyn throughout the show was taking steps to alienate her kids from her ex-husband, making it impossible for them to get together, withholding information, bad-mouthing him, making them feel like their dad was a bad guy. So it was Mykelti that defended this. And I want to know what your thoughts are after hearing what she has to say. And I also want to know if you think that this sounds like parental alienation. And I have pulled up a law firm that deals in divorce that has a good understanding of what it is, what it looks like, and what happens to the child. So let's dive into today's topic. Before we do, can you make sure to give this video a thumbs up? Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and click on the bell so you never miss a video. So let's dig into this next part of the video where Mykelti, explains and defends Robyn's choice of creating this photograph.
But the relationship over the years, it got really tense and it got really strained, and who knows the reasons or the exact reasons or everything, but point is, they felt like they didn't have a dad. And it was really special when my dad adopted them, because it meant a lot to them. It meant a lot to them. Taking out the fact of, my dad and his other kids and Robyn and whatever, it meant a lot to Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. And it was really special for them that my dad adopted them. It was really, really special. It was really special for them to be able to have basically something where they never had this memory. They never experienced growing up with him, but they were able to have this photo of what it would have looked like if they all, at the time of their ages, if they would have been grown up together and raised together. And
I have a lot of feelings, and I'm going to try to keep very cool about this, because I know there's two sides to this story, but she started this out by saying their relationship with their dad was really none of my business. And then she proceeds to give more information about their relationship with their dad. And not even considering that there were two parties in this situation, two parents, and she's only heard one side. And so she says they felt like they never had a dad, and that's a lie. That's not true. They had a relationship with their dad. Once Cody adopted them, they went to go visit Preston, and they were so excited to see their dad. So excited, elated. And even if they didn't feel like they had a relationship with their dad, who's the parent that moved the kids out of state? Who's the parent that moved her kids into a polygamous family? Who's the parent that took the kids, once going public with this family, putting them on reality television when they're already going through the trauma of a family, of their parents going through a split at a very vulnerable time in their lives? They barely had the time to recover from the divorce of their parents before she thrust them into a situation where they were on a reality show and in a new relationship with a fake dad that was only around a certain amount of time, that would never be their real father. And then that man was so jealous of that woman having a relationship with anyone but him that he and her, in a conspiracy, worked to erase him from their lives because they withheld information about a medical accident. They spoke badly about him on a show. They constantly talked about how he was behind on child support. They accused him on the show of stealing her purity. They accused him of abuse and being abusive on the show. She constantly spoke about their difficulties as a family. She did a purity speech in front of children, slamming him. And then the kids wonder, and then the kids are going to wonder why they don't have a good relationship with their dad. That's on Robyn. It's the parent that leaves with the kids. It's their responsibility to not badmouth the other parent. It's their responsibility to make sure that the parents have a relationship together. So why does McKelty feel like it's her business to, one, speak about how Aurora, Dayton, and Brianna felt? She has no clue. And conversely, she says, I don't want to talk about the dad. But then here you are talking about the dad. Sometimes I feel like there's such a disconnect in this family between how public their platform is and how unpublic Preston's platform is. And I highly suspect that after this amount of time and Preston not saying anything, that his tongue is tied. And I mean legally. I bet more than anything that there's a joint non-disparagement agreement here, or there's some sort of NDA in place. I know that he doesn't want to speak about it, but I feel like most people in this situation would have said something somewhere. I feel like there has been some sort of NDA, and that's just my opinion. I was looking at his wife's Facebook, and she posted a comment about how taking away someone's right to speak only proves that you're trying to silence the truth. Something to that effect. It was a quote. And that really resonated with me because I thought, who do you think is silenced in this? Who is disparaged? And when I look at a website that talks about parental alienation, what does an alienating parent do according to the family lawyers, DW.com? Bad-mouthing the targeted parent, withholding medical, academic, and other important information, referring to the target parent by first name instead of mom or dad, confiding in the child, telling the child that the targeted parent does not love them or her. You know she said that to them. Forcing the child to choose. She did. They did. They forced the kids to pick. Telling the child that the targeted parent is dangerous. Withdrawal of love. Interfering with communication and limiting contact. Robyn did all of those things. There are text messages proving that Preston was trying to contact his kids and she would not let them talk because they were filming. There is proof in text messages where he is asking for information about what happened to Preston, and she is withholding that information from Dayton, and she's withholding that medical information from him. There is proof on the show of her disparaging him, making people feel like he's dangerous. Signs of a child that's been alienated will express disapproval towards the targeted parent, hostility toward the targeted parent's relatives, adopting the opinions of the alienated parent as their own, impervious to feelings of guilt, thinking that their own rejection of the targeted parent is their own decision, and idealized perspectives of the alienated parent. Robyn alienated him. She used a show to alienate him. And so this picture she created doesn't change the fact that they had a dad. No matter how much she wanted to erase this man from their lives, they had a father. They had a father that cared for them, that lived with them, that helped feed them, that clothed them, that changed their diapers, that fed them bottles when they were babies, that had cribs for them. Yeah, she had a crib. That worked his butt off for them. And that didn't want to give up rights to his kids. When Dayton turned 18 and after he graduated from high school, do you know what he did? He took a trip to see his dad and spent weeks in Montana and went on a road trip with his dad to reestablish and reconnect and try to repair their relationship. Publicly, Robyn said that he went on a road trip by himself. Publicly, she has never said that they've ever reconnected with their parent. And I've been told privately that reconnection of Dayton with his father caused a lot of conflict with Robyn and Cody. They erased Preston metaphorically and physically. And that picture doesn't change any of that.
And with my dad and stuff. So it was really special for them. Of course, it was also special for Dad to kind of have a picture of what his other kids look like, regardless of how he got those kids, but what his other kids would have looked like when he was younger, kind of thing. So I think it was actually really, really special. And I don't think that any of my siblings and I don't think any of my parents thought it was disrespectful at all. I believe they all think it was really special. So I think it was great. Maybe a little definitely out of the box and out of the norm, but I think it was really special.
I feel like the difference between the way that McKelty uses her platform and the way that her sister Gwendolyn uses her platform, and I can only speak to what I've viewed of the two of them, is that Gwendolyn doesn't claim to speak for anyone but herself. And Gwendolyn will share her experiences and her thoughts. And she doesn't claim to have all the answers. And she certainly doesn't claim to understand things about relationships she knows nothing about. And McKelty seems to feel like she can speak for and speak to about every relationship that happens in this family. And she's admitted on her Patreon that she really likes this attention and she really likes this having an opportunity to use her voice, which I can understand. But in a situation very sensitive like this, she probably could have just said, I thought it was a nice picture, without going into detail that, yeah, they didn't really have a good relationship with their dad. I'm not going to talk about him, but he wasn't around very much. And they really wanted a picture with their dad. Did you guys see when Cody got that photo? Did the kids really look that excited? I don't remember that. I also remember some of the sister wives looking a little bit weirded out by it. And I know that Gwendolyn has said publicly that picture was creepy and it was like her dad was being erased from her life because they took a picture of Cody with Christine and her kids. They took an image of Cody with Christine and their kids together. They took that photo, and they took all of Christine out and they put Cody in. Or they took all of the kids out and then they put the kids with Cody. So she erased people from family on her side and she erased Christine's family. Gwendolyn found that to be uncomfortable. If it was on the different shoot, what would you think if your mom, Christine, who who has made it very clear that she does not want to erase Cody from Truly's life, decided that she was going to make a photograph of David and Truly as a baby. He wasn't around when she was a baby. You can't recreate something that didn't happen. You can't make an image, make it real. You're robbing the children of actual memories with their father and trying to supersede and superimpose Cody there, because Cody's ego was so fragile that he didn't know his kids at that time. There's an episode where they're looking at photographs and Cody is so sad because he didn't know the kids when they were babies. Robyn's response is, I'm going to make a picture of you guys all together. That was Cody's fragile ego. Nothing more, nothing less. And that picture doesn't make him know those kids when they were babies at all. It's just a weird ass picture that was very disrespectful to the biological father and extremely disrespectful to Christine and her kids. But that's just my opinion. It really hurts my heart to know that there are people out there in this world that didn't have a voice and that this show has hurt. It hurts my heart to know that there's been victims of polygamy that have been disparaged, disgraced, discarded, degraded, made to feel like what happened to them wasn't valid, and that this show has been a vehicle for pro-polygamists to discount, discredit, and make victims of polygamy appear as though they're invalid. And Preston was a victim of polygamy. His dad, Lewis, was one of the leaders in Pinesdale. His dad, I don't even know how many wives his dad had. So many kids. Preston didn't want to be a polygamist because he didn't want to have the life that he had as a child. And he didn't want his kids to be bullied and ridiculed through reality television and being public polygamists because he knew what that stigma would do to them. They erased Preston because Preston wanted them to stay private. He wanted them to have a normal childhood. They had a dad. One day these kids are going to learn. They're going to watch a video. Maybe they'll see my videos. Maybe they'll reach out to their cousin that loves them very much. Maybe they'll reach out to their grandma. Maybe they'll reach out to their aunts and uncles. Maybe they'll reach out to their dad. And when they find out that dad loved them and didn't want to give them up, grandma loved them, aunts and uncles loved them, their cousins loved them, and that what happened wasn't true, that could be catastrophic to Robyn and to Cody. So do you ever wonder why they're so tightly controlled? Because if they find out the truth, they'll lose those kids. This part of the story is the hardest one for me. And it's hard to watch someone defend it and just speak about it so nonchalantly. Another part of this talk that she did, she revealed that the whole storyline about Cody taking out a loan for their wedding was fake. And because they couldn't say that the show was going to be paying for the wedding, they had to come up with a storyline of how Cody would come up with the money to pay for McKelty's wedding. And so what did they do? Tony came up with the idea of, well, I'll just ask him to take out a home equity line, because he worked in banking at the time and he knew other people that had done that. Of course, Cody didn't take out an equity line for their wedding. And of course, the show paid for their wedding. But that's just another example of how fake the show is. They had to present a way that this was going to get paid for without making it look like they were receiving benefits from the show. I really hope one day that when McKelty kind of gets further away from all of this, that she can understand and maybe deconstruct from some of this trauma. One of my biggest things that I would love for these kids, and even for the women that have left, would be for them to get help from counselors. I wish that they would connect with other survivors and deconstruct from the trauma instead of having to move forward in the public eye. Because what they're going through right now is not just a divorce, but it's a complete loss of their belief system. And there's so much trauma that we're not seeing, and there's so much abuse that they've probably never discussed. And this was just one abuse that we saw publicly. And this defense of it, it just feels like it's Robyn doubling down about it. Because I'm sure that Robyn has told her that the kids wanted it. I'm sure Robyn has told Mykelti this was a great memory for them. They loved it. They had a terrible relationship with their dad. Their biological dad was an asshole. He wasn't. All right, you guys. What do you think about this flying monkey? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.